Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel today. This is going to be your reading for the month of October. We're finally into spooky season, although if you're anything like me, spooky season started at the beginning of September. But it's officially October. Really excited to see what the month has in store for us. We're going to go ahead and pull 3 cards to start. We're going to do one for the beginning, one for the middle, and one for the end of October. Ugh, that one was not good. Let's try one more time. Then we'll get started. Alright, so let's see. We got beginning, middle, and end of October. Wow, we have some really major energy going on right here. Beginning of October, we got the Emperor here. Then for the middle of October, we got the King of Swords. Lastly, end of October, we got Judgment. There you go. All right, we got 2 major arcanas and 1 major court card here. Start off, we got the Emperor for the beginning of October. Looks like we're going into the beginning of October with some need for control. We're reassessing control, reinserting it over our lives, it seems like. You know, trying to get things in order. The Emperor is all about order. Let's see. I want to get a little bit more here on the beginning of October. Let's see what we got. Okay, 9 of Wands in reverse and the 7 of Swords. Ooh, this kind of makes me think that with the Emperor here, we're kind of dealing with an actual person. 9 of Wands in reverse. The 9 of Wands in the upright is a card of defense. You know, you're putting up your boundaries, inserting your walls around yourself. With this card being in reverse, I feel like this Emperor person here is someone that you kind of have a hard time asserting your boundaries with. 7 of Swords, also here. 7 of Swords is, you know, deception, trying to get what you can. I feel like whoever this Emperor person is, I feel like they're just not a good energy for you to be around. You know, this is someone that you have a hard time asserting your boundaries with. Someone who you kind of feel like you can't trust. You're always kind of watching your back here to see, you know, what's going on behind you here. Emperor might be someone who you feel is controlling your life or controlling your circumstance. It could be you, though. It could just be you sitting here trying to reinstate your control, but you're needing to assert your boundaries. You're open and kind of just going out there without any protections in place, almost like you're trying to, you know, you're trying to get all these resources here to fight with somebody. And then we got the Empress in reverse. Interesting. Emperor and the Empress, these guys are, you know, major counterparts to each other here, divine counterparts. And the Empress is in reverse. I definitely feel like with the Empress in reverse here, you're disconnected from this aspect of your being, this other portion of yourself. Something's got you blocked from feeling your abundance and your ability to create. I have a feeling it's this Emperor person up here. Whether that's yourself, you know, by using your iron fist, ruling over your own life, you're disconnecting from, you know, the natural growth and abundance that occurs. Sometimes if you try to exercise too much control over a situation, if you obsess over trying to make a situation happen an exact way, you lose out on the chance for the situation to go and happen organically. Now, we're going to move on to the second half of October. This is the first half. This is the beginning of October, we said here. King of Swords in the middle of October. I feel like moving on from this situation to this King of Swords energy, I'm really hoping that this, for you, represents getting clear on what it is that you want, getting clear on asserting your boundaries, because the King of Swords is all about boundaries. He's the kind of person who knows exactly who he is and what he wants and what he thinks, and he's able to execute it precisely. The swords there represent his ability to be decisive. And this situation needs decisiveness. So I feel like by the middle of October, you're going to get to this point where you feel like you're ready to make this choice. Whether it's dealing with this person or whether it's you dealing with yourself, you start to kind of get some clarity, decisiveness for it. Let's pull a couple other cards about it. Okay. Yeah, we got the Nine of Swords in reverse and the Tower. Wow, okay. Let's talk about this real quick. So Nine of Swords in reverse, to me, that is, there we go. Nine of Swords in reverse. This is you choosing to no longer dwell on whatever this is haunting you in the past. You know, in the upright, we see this guy who, this person presumably waking up from what is a nightmare or a bad dream. This person's being plagued with these thoughts of imminent demise. I feel like your decision here to not be plagued by these, to no longer allow yourself to be plagued by these thoughts, is what this Tower here represents for you. The Tower is the structures that we build in our lives, the relationships that we build, or the walls that we build around an idea or ourselves, the things that we build up and create. And the Tower is a releasing of these ideas. The Tower is everything being brought back down to its foundations, back to ground zero. This card kind of gets a bad rap. These two showing up side by side here in October kind of tells me that we're moving away from this negativity and we're bringing ourselves back down to zero. We're having this big chance in our mind to really rethink our structures and rethink what it is that we're building in our minds. It's interesting that the Tower and Judgment show up here because these both kind of have very similar vibes to them. The Tower is, you know, these mental foundations of, you know, things in our lives, expectations. Judgment is really like a call to truth. Judgment, you know, it's actually a representation of the book of Revelations from the Bible, where, you know, Judgment Day comes around and the dead are being risen from their coffin by this trumpet of God. That's just what the representation of it is. But basically it's to say that, you know, this higher being here is kind of calling you forth into what it is that you're supposed to do. Being risen from the dead, you know, reviving something, coming back. This dark point, this moment, doesn't have to be the end-all be-all for you. This is the afterlife. Because just because it ends in this, you know, scenario where things are kind of brought back down, it doesn't mean that that's where you gotta let it rest. Okay. We got the Five of Swords in reverse and the Three of Swords in reverse. There's a lot of swords in this month of October. Swords are cards that deal with mind and the mental. So a lot of what we're dealing with here is this mental game in your mind. So end of October here, we're coming out of this Tower moment, this place of darkness. We're rechanging our thoughts and rebuilding our foundations. We're coming into this fresh space. These two cards to me feel like we're leaving behind our pain on a situation. Five of Swords in reverse usually represents like a feeling of like backstabbing or pain from people around us. And I feel like this Three of Swords in reverse here with it is us, you know, pulling away from this pain, this feeling. In the beginning of October, we were talking about this Emperor here, and I really feel like this swords, this coming away from this pain is you kind of moving towards a place of forgiveness for this person. So it kind of seems like, even though, you know, at the beginning here, we're kind of feeling like this person, or even just yourself, that this is coming away and reconnecting with your abundant energy, being decisive about the thoughts that we're choosing to allow within our mind, within our place, and really coming back to ground zero, coming back to ourselves. Part of that is leaving this pain behind, leaving all of this, you know, ickiness in the past kind of where it belongs. I want to pull, I think, one last card for this end of October over here. Let's see. All right. We got the Death card here. First off, I mean, it's probably not funny, but I think it's a little funny that we get the Death card at the end of October, and this is when we're dealing with spooky season and ghosts and, you know, all this Halloween stuff. This is interesting. I feel like this is kind of the key to this whole thing here, is that maybe this person that you're dealing with is a construct in your life from someone who has already died. I kind of feel like this is you dealing with some really tough emotions after the death of someone. This also could represent, you know, the death of this idea, the death of whatever this, you know, confusion is, that the death of this relationship between this controlling energy and your decisive energy. You're allowing this death, this moving onward from this pain. It's really like a, you know, a new beginning. And it's interesting that we were talking about judgment. This card here has these people being risen from the dead, and we have death here. So something's gonna come to its natural finish for you, and it's gonna reinvigorate you. You're gonna come to this natural conclusion here. All right. Ah! Jeez Louise. Okay. We'll go with that, I guess. I was pulling these cards. I wanted some cards for wanted to pull some oracle cards for the beginning, middle, and end of October messages. Came out perfectly. All right, let's talk. For the beginning of October, the message you need to hear is, when I'm connected to my joyful presence, I attract support from the universe. So yeah, instead of doubling down and giving into this control and this dominating energy, connect with your joyful presence. Connect with your love for yourself, your love for others. And in doing so, you'll attract the support that you need. Middle of October, we have, I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Which is, you know, kind of along the lines of what we were saying. This is you're moving away from these fearful thoughts. You're moving away from these things that are hurting you in your mind, you know, these self-deprecating beliefs, and you're breaking down your walls around these beliefs. You're breaking down and choosing love as opposed to fear. And lastly, at the end of October, we have, I surrender to a power greater than me. Beautiful. And isn't that essentially what we do in death? We move on. We have to leave behind these feelings of pain. We have to leave things in the past. We have to move on. When death occurs, it's not always a clean break. There's things that are sometimes left unsaid, or feelings that you never quite got to express the way that you wanted. But even in death, there's a plan with it. There's a plan afterwards. And this Judgment card is that plan after death, that even though something dies, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely gone, you know, and that you can move onward and move forward from it. And part of that is surrendering, trusting the process, trusting that, you know, things end for a reason when they are supposed to end, and that just because you experience one ending doesn't necessarily mean that everything's gone. So anyway, I love this reading. October looks very enlightening for ourselves. And yeah, I look forward to doing November's reading for you all. So thank you for being here, and have a good day.